Hey guys, Sean here. We had a bit of a hiccup during the recording of this episode, so we don't have a regular ending like we do with every other episode. However, in the links below in the description, we'll have the link for Scan's channel on YouTube, which I think most of us already know, and his merch store, also Eli's Etsy page. So thank you guys for being here. I know this is going to be a longer one, but it's going to be a fun one, and we'll see you soon. Welcome everybody to the Shadow Gaming Podcast. It's another episode here. Uh, Today we're going to be talking about Mortal Kombat, a franchise, since we have Mortal Kombat 1 being released soon. With me today, below, we got Eli.
Yo, what's going on?
Down and to the side, we got Scan.
What up?
And we got a recurring guest. We got Wales.
What to do, fellas? Appreciate
That
the
way.
invite.
Always a
Over
good time.
there.
Yeah,
Yep.
over there somewhere.
Yeah.
But
Time to
yeah,
set this off correctly. Let me pour a nice double glug here.
There
My
we
man.
go.
It's Friday night. That's what you do.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. Just enough so I have to sip the top before I lift it up. You know what I'm saying?
The perfect pour.
Cheers.
Salute.
Cheers, gang.
Oh man. So yeah, Mortal Kombat, what a great franchise. Here from my home city, not less than a mile away from me, at Midway Games. It started in '92.
That's so awesome that you live that close.
I
Right.
drove by the old Midway building yesterday. I was like, I'm gonna get a picture to show the guys. They took all the damn signage down just recently.
Oh my God.
No way. It still said
Oh.
Midway.
Yeah, it had WMS on the building the whole time.
No
Mm,
way, dude.
man.
And it's funny
Golly.
because I believe they're still over there, just focusing prominently on the slot machines that they work on.
That's a shame. That's a
Yeah.
damn shame.
It is.
That place should be just
Oh yeah,
permanently iconic.
it should be.
It's a shrine. I mean, not just Mortal Kombat. I mean, think about all the bangers that Midway
Oh, I know,
produced
dude.
in the 90s and the 2000s. That was just a decade of dominance.
And it's crazy because before they were called Midway, it was like Williams Entertainment, I believe it was.
Right. You're right.
And so that's just like a lot of people don't seem to know that. Before Midway
Mhm.
was Williams, then Midway, and I think they're now with Warner Brothers.
Yes.
Didn't
Yeah.
they have some affiliation with Bally at some point in the early days too? Or am I way? I thought Bally was in there. Bally Midway or something.
I don't think so.
I
I'll
think
have to look that up.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're onto something. I do recall that myself.
Man, if I'm wrong, this is gonna make me look real bad, but I don't care. I'm just saying. I'll just be playing the games. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Right.
Bally was actually part of Midway.
There we go. I'm saying.
Boom. Called it. Spitting facts.
Oh,
Love it.
but yeah, I mean, we have to start with the OG. I mean, MK1,
Absolutely.
limited to 7 characters, but still, with that 7 characters, made such a damn franchise out of it.
Mhm.
Life changing for many young lads. When
Oh,
I
yeah.
was 12, that game came out. Blew my fucking mind.
Oh
And
my God, the blood!
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. And not just the blood, the gore, and the finishing moves.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Dude, everybody still remembers when they pulled off their first fatality. You know what I'm saying? You remember where you were and who you were with when you did it, man.
Yep. We all do. Because it was one of those, you're gonna see somebody do it. I mean, because everybody crowded around the machines, and you'd line your quarters up and everything, and it was when somebody did it was like, oh, how'd you do that? And, the ones that were all like, uppity by themselves. You don't need to know. You'll figure it out, or they wouldn't spill it or whatever. And then there's some others who are like, oh yeah, you just do up,
Yeah.
up, no big deal.
Yeah.
So it's
Loser pays, winner stays, bro.
that's right. That's right.
Now I know when MK1 comes back out, is released, I know we're going to have to do a King of the Hill series.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
It'll be fun.
I'm still debating if I'm going to get a PS5. Like, I never touch my console. I got a PS3 and a PS4, and I never play them ever. I can't even tell you the last time I turned on my PS4. I'm always hanging in the game room. But there's games that come out for the newest gen consoles where I get to the point where I'm like, okay, is this going to be the game that forces me to buy a PS5? And it's either going to be MK1. It's either that or I'm still going to buy it for PS4. It's coming out for PS4 too, right?
I
No,
think
fuck me.
I
I
believe
think
they're not releasing them on older gens.
I think
Yeah, I
it's
think-
Steam, Xbox, Xbox One and Series S and X, and then maybe PS4 and 5. Let me double check.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
Switch.
Because it's either that or it's going to be GTA 6. One of those two is going to force me to buy a PS5.
PS5 and not PS4, but the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shit. Looks like MK1 is going to cost me about $600.
No, it isn't. You have
No,
Steam.
you
You get it on Steam.
I
You play it on your
I get it on
your
yeah.
Megacade.
Yeah, play it on your panel like God intended. That's what I do. Get it on Steam.
No.
Get it on Steam, homie, and then you can play because it's not. Have they said whether it's going to be cross compatible with the other systems yet, or?
No, it doesn't look like anything right now.
Yeah, so Steam gives you the best opportunity to at least play with your friends and stuff like that. Unless you just get a console, but it's whichever.
And most of us are going to have it on Steam anyhow, just to play on the control panel.
That's why I did it.
Yeah,
It just makes
the
sense.
control panel for sure.
Yep.
It's like there's something about playing, and this is going to sound really weird coming from me. There's something about playing a brand new game like that when everybody gets it and you're playing it the way that it's intended to be played for that period of time. And in this day and age, it's intended to be played with a wireless controller on a PS5 or an Xbox or whatever. So there's a part of me that still wants to just play it in beautiful 4K on that console. You know what I mean? Sit in my living room. But of course, I'm going to have it on the Megacade and play it on the control panel because that's always the way that I like to play. But I still play the classics way more than I play any of the new stuff. I don't know about you guys, but
no, completely. That's pretty much true with most people because it's that trip for nostalgia.
Yeah, that first trilogy. I mean, hands down, you can't touch it. There's just something.
And here, listen, I'll show some of the viewers here. So this is my dedicated Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet right here, but I do have a JAMA switcher inside of it. And I have MK1, MK2, Ultimate MK3, and MK4 Revision 3. So I use the JAMA switcher to go back and forth. So it is all the OG boards inside of this cabinet. So when I switch it, it's not, these are not emulated ROMs. So it's like just in honor of making an appearance on your podcast. I appreciate you for inviting me. I wanted to make sure I had the OG up and running. So those are the ones I play more than anything else, I will say. And then you got your Defenders of Earth and all that stuff. But
I have to say though, Scan, I'm with you, man. The new stuff is cool. There's nothing, for futuristic, great. I always end up going back to the OG, man. Like there's just something.
Yeah.
It's not even the graphics that do it for me. It's just like it's just how the game came so far. And and just think about it for a second. This game is being modded every single day with different variations on the same classic 2D background, dude. Like,
you're so right, dude.
Yeah.
That is an absolute milestone, man. And I feel like I just enjoy it a lot more going back to the classic. It's harder to me. It makes you learn how to get better and everything like that. And it's just there's nothing more refreshing than doing a fatality on the classic over the new game, dude.
Dude, for sure. And I mean, I guess we're all grown. We all work a lot. We all got jobs, and our gaming time is so trimmed down. So when I spend time gaming, it's in my game room. So honestly, I don't have the time to sit there and play the newest version of these games and learn a fraction of enough to be good enough to even, I'll play online a little bit, but like, I'm sure you guys would agree, man. It's a different monster, man. You're just getting smoked out there playing online. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not what it's even playing classics online, you'll still get people that are able to just spin. You got to know your shit. And
yeah.
I consider myself a decent MK player, and I'll get on because up until I had a PS5 this year, PS3 was my latest. So I had the Mortal Kombat arcade treasure. So it was just 1, 2, and Ultimate. And
I had it too. Still got it. Love it.
Yeah. Still, I was playing it, and still will, until I got my machine with the actual ROMs on it and stuff and arcade sticks. But I mean, I'm getting, like you said, I'm getting smoked. I mean, like I'm lucky to get like 2, 3 hits in, and I mean, like I said, I consider myself pretty decent, and it's not even funny. And I'm like, damn, it wasn't like this back when I was playing at cabinets when I was 10, 12 years old. But like Eli said, it's just the replay value of the classics. Because I mean, even being 2D, and I mean, all these new games are just so sexy. They look great, it's lifelike and everything. And I mean, I'm getting a PS5, this year. I was like, I'm gonna probably just get Mortal Kombat, but then you just sit. But I mean, it's just I don't feel right playing it with a controller, even though it looks great on the TV and stuff.
Right,
but
right.
I wouldn't be able to play with my friends unless we all got the same system game, and not everybody has the same system. So that's why I did go with Steam, was just so that way I could at least have a chance to play with you guys or anybody else out there. But then also just because that's how I grew up playing Mortal Kombat, was sticking buttons, and it's just natural. It just feels good.
It's the way the good Lord intended it.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
And to actually throw a little wolf callback, we do have one nerd fact. You have the only 4 models of arcade made Mortal Kombat. They have never made, outside of those 4 games, another board for custom machine for any kind of machines.
Right. Yeah. Except for, well, you can't really count it, but just standard Mortal Kombat 3, and then there's Ultimate. So it's kind of 2 in the same, but they really are kind of 2 different games, but the same. Does that make any sense? I mean, there's a part of me that wants, so my JAMA switcher has 6 slots in it, and I have toyed with the idea many times of adding just the standard Mortal Kombat 3 and then Ultimate MK3 and 4 along with 1 and 2, so I have 5 slots. So I do like playing the original MK3, but I got Ultimate. So, it's weird because, man, I know we're still talking about MK1, but it's so easy to get derailed. Yeah. Because the difference between regular MK3 and Ultimate is when you play Ultimate, it was the newest version of what they did then, but it doesn't rotate the same backgrounds, like the same arenas. So, like, if you want to play, like, in the graveyard, for example, from what I remember playing the game a lot, you'd think I'd know more about this, but it doesn't rotate the graveyard scene on Ultimate MK3. I actually have to put in the combat code, which I have custom made on the bezel. So I put in the graveyard combat code when I want to see it. Other than that, it's like you'll never see it on Ultimate, which is weird to me.
Yeah, that is quite strange there.
Yeah.
Never knew that detail before.
No.
Yeah, I mean, dude, test that theory, dude. Queue up UMK3 when you guys have a minute and play it. And as you play through it, let me know if you ever see the graveyard background. Because if you don't, put in the combat code, and that's the only way you'll see it. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
I will definitely check that out, just like when you told me the EJB code and everything. And
I still can't believe you didn't know that, dude.
I know.
It had been like years after it came out. Like, still reason, but I was like, yo, I can't believe Wales for sure.
Yeah, yeah, especially as hardcore as I am. But again, sadly, as we all know, arcades like we grew up with don't exist anymore. So I can't go somewhere and try that out. So then all of a sudden I get my own custom built arcade machine with those games, and I'm like, well, let's just try this shit out right now, and just boom, boom, there it is, boom, boom, 2, 3, ultimate. It was just like, God, and we talked about it like, if we had this power back in our 12, 15-year-old selves, basically going up to these machines and putting them on free play, or fatality demonstrations, or whatever we wanted to put. It
It
just
would
like
have
that would
blown
be,
people's minds.
oh my God, absolutely, absolutely. So it's still the game that keeps on giving, no matter how old it is. We're 31 years after the original release, so. And then MK2, which is, I know a lot of y'all's, that's my personal favorite still. If I could play one more Mortal Kombat game before I bite the dust, it'll be MK2, and that's 30 years this year. So,
My man, I'm with you right there. That's
Yeah.
my favorite of all time, MK2.
yep.
1 and 2 are pretty close to being neck and neck, but man, I'm with you. I'd have to pick MK2.
I have to agree.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna be the odd man out and say I don't actually have a favorite MK. I've enjoyed all of them.
I can
That's fair.
respect that.
Yeah,
I can
that's fair.
respect that. So, all right, I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
Where were you and what were you doing when you first saw MK1? Now, Eli, I know you're a little bit younger, so you probably, when you were coming up, you may have already kind of been bombarded with options. So how old are you again?
I'm 34.
All right, 34. So when MK1 came out, I was 12. You're 8 years younger than me. So damn, dude, you were 4. So you probably didn't give a shit about Mortal Kombat when you were 4. So like when you started caring about games, which one was the first one that you saw and you were like, holy shit, this is blowing my mind?
Actually, it's funny because so how I got introduced to Mortal Kombat was by part 2, and it was at a pizza shop in Chicago when I was living there at the time with my mother. And
Fuck
I'll never.
yeah.
It was like the CPU fighting. It was CPU with Scorpion fighting Reptile. And I remember trying to play it as a kid, and immediately I'm fascinated by this damn game. I'm like, oh, this shit's so cool. Naturally being a kid, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and those CPUs on those arcades are raised to the highest level just to eat your money.
Yeah,
So,
oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
of course, of course.
it was absolutely, a thrill to me. So, I actually got introduced to part 1 was I think I was with my grandmother at the time. She was getting her car serviced, and they had the cabinet there in the shop. So naturally, I went over to it, selected Sub-Zero and everything like that. I'm getting my ass kicked, of course. I have no idea what I'm doing. But, immediately Kano does the finisher on me when he rips out my heart out my chest and everything, and I'm like, dude, this game is fucking amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude. I just remember I skied a lot growing up. So I was I grew up in Michigan. I live in Florida now. But that was my main thing. So I was at this place called Alpine Valley Ski Resort in Michigan. And my brother came running up to me. I got a younger brother. He's about a year and a half younger than me. He came running up to me because that was the thing. When you go to you're skiing, you come in, you take a break, you get a burger, and they always had game rooms. And we always hung out in the game rooms. My brother came running up and he's like, Aaron, you got to check out this game. There's guys falling on spikes and all sorts of crazy shit. And I was like, I kind of blew him off because it was my younger brother, and I feel like a dick because I was like that. But like, I finally went in the game room with him, and I was just like, "Holy shit, this fucking game is awesome!" And it was MK1, dude. And I just, from that moment on, I was like, "What, dude?" I couldn't wait for MK2 to come out, man. I remember I had to have my dad call the 1-800 number in the back of GamePro magazine to pre-order the MK2 cartridge for Sega Genesis like 6 months before it came out. And oh, dude, I just remember the hype around it was just so crazy. Mortal Monday and all that stuff, dude. Oh my God, dude, it was.
Yep. So my story is, so 92. So I'm 9, and I'm at Spare Time Lanes. All right. So like my dad and my grandfather, like they were big bowlers and stuff like that. So like, we would always go like every other Friday. We go to Spare Time Lanes and bowl, and they it's building. It's got 2 sides lanes on this side, and then in the middle they got like a little pool hall area, and then there's like a little small area for like arcades and stuff, and then behind that was like the bar or like the food kitchen, whatever and stuff. And so they had me go in between games and to go and just get another uh thing like sodas. I forgot what we were getting. I was going to get another pitcher, and they gave me the money. And you have to walk past the arcades to get to the bar or whatever and order stuff. And
Yeah,
I
you
hear
came
just
back with no money and no pitcher.
no, I wasn't. I didn't do that. I mean, the thought crossed my mind because I just hear this. Whoa, damn man, and I just it's like the whole thing where you walk past, you look, and you keep walking, you stop, and then you like lean back, and you're like, what
You
is
did the
going?
rock aware.
Yeah, like like I was like, what is that in something? And so I walk, I kind of walk up in there, and there's like these, just punk teenagers and stuff like that. I said, I'm 9, so I'm like, I'm kind of skittish, like I don't want to get my ass beat or someone take my money or whatever and stuff. But I'm just like trying to, the whole looking over shoulders kind of thing. And all I see is Sub-Zero freeze, uppercut, blood hits, and I'm like, blood in a game and they're fighting? Like, what is it? The whole finish him. And this is, I don't know when it was, so there wasn't a finisher done or anything. So then the guys laugh and shove the next person off or whatever, and next guy comes in as Scorpion and just railroads this guy who had just won a Sub-Zero. I mean, just like flawless. And then I think he got like a sweep on him in the second round, and he did the fatality, did the whole mask off,
Oh,
flame, skeleton crumbles, and it was just silent. Like everybody was like, "Whoa!" Like you could hear it. It was just, and I'm sitting there like, "What did he do?" And everybody's just like, "How'd you do that?" And he goes, "You just got to know if you know." And then like of course, like 2 of the people tried to play him, and he just beat him. I'm like, I gotta go. I'm gonna get in trouble or something. But I'm just like, every time I walk by, the whole long look and stuff, and I was just like, man, I want to play this game so bad. And so I finally got the chance to go to it and play it. But I mean, like Eli said, I'm kind of young, so I don't know anything, and I get school. I'm trying. I'm like, oh, a guy with lightning, let's do this. Whatever. So Raiden, okay, whatever, let's go. And yeah, I just get owned by the computer and stuff. And so I was just like, well, I guess it's just not for me or something. And then like you, and then they announced MK2 coming out, and man, I myself sitting there because I look at the characters, and so I was a big. This is 93 now and stuff. So X-Men the cartoon is big on and stuff, and I'm a big Wolverine fan and stuff. So naturally, Baraka spoke to me and stuff with the blades and all that stuff. So I'm looking at he's
be still, my heart.
right. And so I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk so much. It's just I love this game. It's just this is what it's what it did for me. And so I would sit there, and you brought up I had subscription to Game Pro too, homie. So I'm getting this Game Pro, and they got the move list in it. So I'm looking, Baraka. I pull up this what are they called? Post-it
Index
notes, a
cards.
yellow
Nope.
post-it note, a yellow
Okay.
post-it note. I'm sitting there, blade spark back, and I'm doing arrows, HP, blade slice back, LP. And so I go up there, and my mom lets me. She's like, here's $2 for the arcade. Take your, don't blow it all at once because it's all you're getting. She's gonna go shopping. So I'm like running, like, where's it? Where's it? And sure enough, it's up there front. And somehow nobody's playing it, so I go and I select it. It's just bright. Sprites are big. I find Baraka. I stick my little post-it note on the arcade cabinet and stuff like that. As soon as I start playing, they have fans and stuff here. It blows my post-it note off the thing. I'm like, oh shit, I don't have And all of a sudden, it just, I think it was Reptile first round, and just acid bath, you're done. And I was like, I didn't even get to try, but I loved it. I was like, I'm ready to do this. And from then on, it's just passion, just love of that game.
Hell yeah, man. Sean, what about you, man?
I think I've said it before in one of the prior episodes, our arcade discussion, but I'll say it again. Went touring high schools, at the time. Got to get into one of them. And at a Catholic school, a little bit close to Midway, and their cafeteria had Street Fighter 2, Arch Rivals, and then this black cab that was there, and they had 2 people standing by it with clipboards. So I was normally playing Arch Rivals during lunch, and I go and look at the nuke one. They're like, "You wanna check this game out?" I'm like, Sure, it's Mortal Kombat. I'm like, wait. And this is where it gets worse. It's a freaking Catholic school holding a Mortal Kombat game. I'm like, man, this is crazy. And thankfully, one of the cool parts was they did have, a couple moves for each character that they were telling you how to do. And I had fun. The first character was Johnny Cage.
Nice.
Dude, so anyone ever noticed back in the day when you were in an arcade, it was like the dude that was always schooling everybody was some weirdo with like a trench coat on sitting there, and like you couldn't even like get a hit in edgewise. And he was always like 25. You could smoke in the arcades back then. There was a fucking cigarette burning down to the butt, sitting there on the edge of it. With like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And he's got the chain going to his wallet and everything.
Yeah,
Shit.
dude.
Yeah. That's just everywhere.
Just like basically like a dude just face palming kids out of the way. You know what I mean? That was what it was like at like my local arcade, dude. There was always some freaking dude who was way older than everybody else, but like, hey, I got respect, man. Because listen, if I was 25, I'd have been playing that shit.
Oh yeah.
But
that was the clientele for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've only talked about the first game right now. The second game we started getting into. One of the cool things I did love about the franchise was I did love the in-depth lore that they had with it. Was I questionable about some choices they did for the story? Yes. But I mean, to have that Elder Gods line and see how everything played out going into the fights with Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn, it made it interesting.
Dude, I have to be completely honest with you guys. When I was 12 and then I think 13, right? When MK2 came out in 93, like I barely cared about what the storyline was. I was just like, give me the game. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, absolutely.
I didn't ever really care much about the story. I was just like, yo, the game, the colors, the fatalities. Honestly, the colors to this day is like just seeing the game on in a track mode. I don't care as long as it's in my game room, just chilling. I don't even have to play it. It's got to be there. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I paid a little bit more attention to the storyline as I got older. You know, even well past the arcade days, I couldn't tell you, everything there is to know about it, but I definitely paid more attention to the story.
Yeah, I would agree as well. I mean, I was thinking like just give me the game. I want to see what's in there. Now there's friendships and babalities and
like there's a code where sewing your blade shows her tit. You know what I mean? Like,
the nudalities. Yeah. It went all over the place and stuff. And I didn't really start paying attention until I guess MK3, and then I went back and started looking at the story arcs and stuff like that, and who was your winner and stuff like that. And like you said, now you get on. It's this whole cinematic thing where you can watch somebody play the newer versions, and if you add up just all the cutscenes without any fighting and stuff, it's like a movie. It's a legit movie. It's like an hour and a half because since I missed out on PlayStation 4, the only MK. I own it now just because I just went and bought it off the store a while ago on a sale. But like MKX was the only one I never ever really played because I never owned it. But I mean, I was just like, I want to know what's going on with the story. So I sat there and looked it up on YouTube, and it was like an hour and 38 minutes of just the actual story of Mortal Kombat 10. And it's evolved so much, that you can't help but not pay attention. And it's just the way games are now.
Yep. I mean, I'll watch a shit out of a Mortal Kombat cutscene, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But I usually try to rifle through them on other games. But
and not just what MK2 did that was great. I mean, while Shang Tsung was a really appropriate boss in part 1, and even to get to him was pretty fucking difficult with all those endurance matches.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yep.
being introduced to Shang Tsung in part 2, like he kind of put the standard of like what type of fucking boss fight is this? You know, he changed the game when it came to boss fights in terms of fighting games.
Oh yeah. You
Yeah,
couldn't be good at one character. You couldn't be good only against playing certain types of characters. You had to be good against everybody because you didn't know what that bastard was going to turn into.
Mm-hmm. Especially when it blew my mind. It's like, I finally got past Goro, that son of a bitch. I don't have to, oh, fuck, he changed into Goro. And it's just like, damn it. It's hard.
That, when you were able to be Shang Tsung in MK2, I was like, oh, it's gold, man. I'm just going to learn how to morph into every character, and I'll just be able to beat everyone with Shang Tsung. No, dude, let me tell you something. That little millisecond when you morph back into him, oh my God, dude, that is the death of you. Like, that's the one thing I bitch about it, but they did it right. Because if that millisecond wasn't there when you morph back into a different character, you would be just a Don. You would be unstoppable if you could play as Shang Tsung, just be any character. Because they had to, I remember hearing stories about it and reading things about it where they had to like tone down certain characters so that they weren't too easy to win with, you know, like in MK3 they did that with Cabal, because Cabal, we all know that's like, you know, he was like the combo king when it came to playing MK3. And they had, I remember seeing interviews with Ed Boon and they're like, yo, we had to calm him down because people were already figuring out a way to like rule the game with him. So I love hearing stories like that, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Cabal, yeah, you could get that 59% like 9-hit combo like with ease, you know, once you got the timing and stuff down. And then, like I said, in Mortal Kombat 3, they nerf batted him real hard. And
yeah,
I mean,
dude.
I remember pulling it off, and I'm like, oh yeah, 59%. It was like 34. I was like, what just happened? Like that. And I do it again, and it's like 34, and I was like, huh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm still good with him, but I guess I can't, like you said, just rule the roost and just like get on up to Shao Kahn and then lose and then pick somebody else to, you know, beat the game with somebody else. But to your point, MK2, yeah, Shang Tsung. Back, I mean, I would do it just to fuck with people. I would just pick Shang Tsung, and they'd be like, "You can't morph," and I'm like, "Why?" You know, I was like, "That's
it's
the
part
point
of the
it."
game.
Yeah, well, because I would sit there. Whoever would play against me, I would morph into them, and I'd beat them with their own character. And people got like my friends got pissed. Like they straight up said, like, you know, you can't be Shang. You just can't, like, because you know you just can't, like, you if you're gonna pick Shang, you can't morph. And so I'm like, all right, you know, it's a little bit harder, but I could still pull it off. But you know, he was a game changer.
Did this piss anyone else off when you were a kid? When everyone referred to Shang Tsung when you were like a young lad, they were like, Shang Tsung.
Tucson.
Shang Tsung.
Tucson. Yeah. Did I say that? I did. I'm not gonna lie, until I was corrected, and then I was like, okay, T is silent. I will forever remember that and stuff. But yeah.
And
Oh my
Shang's
gosh.
finisher, man, in part 2 when he turns into Kintaro and does that punch, that was fucking
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Freaking gold.
Yeah, if you could pull that off in the arcade, because I mean that, like I said, you got to charge low punch for 30 seconds. I mean, that's from the get-go, you can't use that button. You just hold it down. So you pray, you know, that you can have it last long and then win the game, because you're kind of handicapping yourself. You're taking away a move essentially, just so you can turn into and do it.
Any of the torso rib fatalities in MK2 where you slice them at the torso. But dude, to your point, Eli, that Shang Tsung fatality is the absolute. That's one of my absolute favorite fatalities in MK2. And runner up was got to be Reptile doing the invisible waist slice. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely, dude.
I like Scorpions where you took a spear, slit your throat, and then like breathe fire at your torso and you ripped off. Like that one was.
You just made me rethink my runner up.
Just like you said, the torso rips were great because you would see that little part of their spine sticking out along with the blood and guts. Like they tried to make it juicy and stuff, you know, for a 2D game. And it was just, like you said, MK2 raised the bar so much. And it was just, it's still to this day is just replay value is great.
Just the fluidity of the movements and everything. Like it was so much more fluid than MK1, but yeah, man. I know what
And
you're
then, of course,
saying.
and then you get MK3 where they just went over the top, where like you blow up somebody and there's like 20 rib cages and like 40 legs and all this stuff. And it's
That was
just
the
or
thing that
smoke that blew up the whole planet.
the whole planet. Yep, that
Yeah.
was it. Next, and then next fight, we're good. Oh, okay, we're back. All right, cool.
yeah,
Or,
no
or
shit.
Cyrats.
I guess we're still here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
I
the
agree.
point. They did it over the top just to make fun of themselves, and that's another reason
Yeah.
I like it is they could laugh at themselves and still have a great game with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
mean- Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like that was a little bit of the cornball factor in MK3 that I didn't really resonate that well with me. Like, I still love MK3, but like, yeah, when you blow somebody up and there's like 40 legs, it's like, all right, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. I get it. Yeah.
I guess it was just more of the appeal, man. But I've never witnessed anyone actually do brutality in my damn life naturally, dude. Because like now you can honestly get away with these Mugans that just tell you, hey, just hit high punch about 10 times, man. But I've never seen anyone actually execute a freaking brutality normally, dude.
Yeah.
It's always a button mash special.
It is. I mean, it's like you could eat that. Like, I would go out, I would buy the, like, MK Trilogy came out, that to me was like the greatest MK at the time, because it had everybody in it basically up to that point. And I mean, I went and bought the actual trilogy manual, so it had everybody in there, like all the moves and everything, and it listed brutalities, and it had like the 12 to 15 button presses to do. I mean, I could get 4, and then it's like you had to do it lightning fast. And even with me practicing, sitting there trying, like while the game's loading, I'm like looking at the mind, doing this, trying to get the motions down.
Bro,
I just can't. There's no way.
Mortal Kombat brutalities are basically, in my opinion, no different than a Killer Instinct Ultra combo. You know what I mean? Like, same thing. But yeah, brutalities were not my specialty at all, man. And like I said, I live way more in the MK2 realm. MK3 I love to play, and I still will play anytime. But like, whenever games start getting to the point where there's too much shit to learn, that's where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just stay where I live. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I get that.
And
it's not the newer games that they make brutalities like you either have to unlock them or it's like in addition to the fatalities. Like everybody has 2 or 3 fatalities now, and they're not the quick ones. Like they're this huge cinematic, thing where it's just like over the top, but gruesome and gore, which is fine and stuff. But like the brutalities were like just a quick instant, kill, or a lot of them now they have gone back and made brutalities now what finishers were from 2 or 3 or whatever and stuff. And I think it's cool they pay homage to them that way. But I kind of get more I get more satisfaction honestly as a brutality because they're harder to pull off than a fatality. But that's just me.
Yeah, I just can't shake the idea that like the way that the fatalities were done in MK1 and MK2, you can tell that they really poured a lot of thought and time, and like it was something to behold. Whereas when you get into the MK3 realm, there's part of me that feels like a lot of it was rushed, because I think they were competing with a lot of other game makers at the time. They were trying to keep their crown, stay on top, and I feel like a lot of the stuff was rushed. That's why I feel like some of the fatalities were cornier than we wish they were. You know what I mean? Like there was not a lot of realistic, like, blood and gore. It was there, but it was a little bit more on the cartoony side. And MK1 and 2 was more of a realistic experience, I think. That's just my opinion.
Right.
No, that's pretty accurate there.
No, and I have to back that up because we know that they released Ultimate 3, and what Ultimate 3 ultimately did bring was more characters. Because let's acknowledge one thing I didn't like about Mortal Kombat 3. How do you just remove Scorpion?
Yeah.
How did you? That was the stupid. I mean, come on. Let's face it, gentlemen. because like you boys, I grew up with Baraka 2 and Mortal Kombat 2. He was the first one I learned, and then built my way over to Melina and just got my success higher from there. But let's face it, every time you looked at an MK game being played on the thing, you always saw two particular ninjas every single time: Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Yep.
Now you can't have a game that just has one over the other. That when they did that, I was just like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, that and unmasking them too. Like ninjas always, it's their identities. Who are they? Whatever and stuff. And here it's like I'm gonna wear a blue vest and I got a red scar, but you can see everything. My greased hair, whatever. I'm like, what the hell? Like what? I get that Sub-Zero, but like, and then in Ultimate, they're like, well, we're gonna have Sub-Zero, and then we're gonna bring back his Ninja Sub-Zero. I'm like, whoa, two Sub-Zeros? Like what? Why are?
Yeah, we got like Hollywood Sub-Zero, and then we got like OG Sub-Zero.
Oh man.
I know. I was like, are we gonna get like, is there a code for preteen Sub-Zero coming in the next one? I mean, like, what? It was just odd. But yeah, you're right, Eli. I mean, that's your bread and butter because I mean they looked at MK1, and that's why in MK2. Sonya and Kano were, in the background there. They weren't playable characters in MK2, and everybody else was because they looked at their demographic and like those are the two characters that were picked the least amount, and the ones that were picked the most were Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And so, how you get rid of one of those two? Just, I mean, cold turkey, like didn't even say it or something like, all right, well, there were because back then there's no internet, there's no spoilers, so the game comes out, that's when you find out, and he's not there. Why? What is?
I'm sure very weird for a lot of people.
Yeah. Same.
Man. Dude, do you remember when they came out with Ermac? Do you guys remember the story about how Ermac came to be? All right, I'm seeing
message or something.
Yeah, so like in Mortal Kombat 1, I believe, when you there we go. Welcome back to your scheduled programming.
Woo! After that interlude, thank you for joining back.
It isn't a Shadow Gaming podcast if there isn't some kind of fuck up in it.
Dude, listen, hey. I think it only happened because I'm here, man. It's like it's like one of my streams.
No, last recording we had issues too.
Oh, gotcha.
All right, so before it cut off,
we were we were getting into more
Ermac.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, I can't forget this because it's such a good story. But I believe it was MK1, if I'm not mistaken. When you played MK1, there was an error, and sometimes people would pick Scorpion, and Scorpion would be partially red and pixelated, if I'm remembering this correctly. And in his power bar, instead of saying Scorpion, it said Ermac, but it was short for Error Macro.
Yes.
So there was a problem, and people thought they had found a fake, like a hidden character. And then it became such a phenomenon that they actually ended up making a character named Ermac because of that. And before they realized they were going to name him Ermac, they were referring to the Red Ninja along with Scorpion as ketchup and mustard. So they joke about that when they were developing the game, that they were like, oh, ketchup and mustard. And then they ended up just going with the original Error Macro code, calling him Ermac, which I think is such a cool story about, just some insider game developer type nerd shit,
Oh yeah, that stuff always fascinates. Hearing, the history and behind the scenes aspects of characters that you love, and just like, how the hell did they come up with this? Like,
yeah,
I know this one's a side one, but who the hell decided tofu and meat from Resident Evil 2 was a smart idea?
Shit, I've never played it.
That's my point. Where? But yet, we do get some really good ones at other times, and then we get the crappy ones like that.
And that's one thing about MK, man, that's like so remarkable is when it comes to every individual ninja. Aside from Scorpion and Sub-Zero, then Ermac, you had Smoke, then you had freaking Noob Saibot, and then let's not forget my boy Rain.
Rain,
I am a big
Rain, yeah.
let me tell you, Rain has just the coolest combo when he does his around the world kick incorporated into it. Like seeing that for the first time, seeing my opponent go from off the screen and just come right back on the screen like that was just so fucking cool to do, dude. And it's just like his combo's long and it's pretty simple to do. And it was just like fucking just fun, man. Like everyone was just unique in their own special way. In my personal opinion, I'm speaking about Ermac, dude, possibly one of the hardest ninjas to get used to.
Yes, without a doubt, he's the one I still to this day will struggle with. I can take Smoke, I can take Reptile, Scorpion, so all those guys, but Ermac is just so hard to time and dial down because the problem with him, and it's kind of like Scorpion, but it's not as bad as if you do his force lift and you miss or they block it, dude, you're just up like this, just asking to get your ass beat. And of course, when they incorporated the run button, it was over. It's like you just took a combo, and it was over. So,
Yeah,
I
dude,
get you. He's tough.
He just has that real stupid delay.
Dude, let me tell you guys, the only thing that I think is cool about Ermac is the story about Ermac. Other than that, I'm like, fuck Ermac, dude. I don't.
Oh man.
I can't play with him. I'm not good with him. I don't know, man.
No, he's. I've seen people just kick so phenomenal ass with the guy, and I'm just like, I don't even fucking know how you're able to pull it off, but congratulations.
Yeah,
dude,
people are in the computer. Yeah.
Eli, what? Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Rain introduced because was it Boone or was it John Tobias or who on the MK team was a Prince fan? Because wasn't Prince the foundation behind Rain and being a purple ninja?
Purple Rain. You're right.
You are absolutely correct. It was based on Prince's Purple Rain. Yep. I think it was Tobias. Let me just double check that. But it was one of the two that was definitely a Prince fan, and that's how we got our boy Rain in the picture. And to me, Raven is so fucking good, dude.
Yeah, Rain is fun. Like you said, the whole you just do the energy ball thing, set him up for that roundhouse, set it up, then do an uppercut, lightning strike, and it's like boom, that's like 40%. Do it again, that's game. And then the sad part is though, he had a really badass fatality with the lightning strikes and stuff. He would just call on him and they would just, fry him to death. But then he had that lame ass one where he just uppercuts him and then they just come back down upside down. It's like Scan said, it's the whole corny factor. And it's like,
So
could
it
have
is
better, but
so Rain was actually created by Ed Boon, but it was supposed to be as a gag character to in regards to Prince's Purple Rain, but it ended up just being popular instead.
The story took a life of its own.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's crazy how MK has so many of those, dude.
Oh yeah, that's. I
Like
mean, even if you look at the story of how Johnny Cage came to be, it actually was because Midway was asked to try to do a Universal Soldier game for Van Damme, and they started looking at Van Damme's work and they saw Bloodsport, and they're like, "There we go. There's the concept for Johnny Cage."
That's dope. And funny enough, a little fun fact: when MK2 was being created, Ed Boon snuck both Jade and Smoke in there without John Tobias's knowledge.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and apparently at some point Tobias actually did get pissed off about that, because he didn't like to be kind of left in the dark. And I can't recall what other character he kind of did that again. I think it was Noob Saibot. But ultimately, these were just like they just blew up as characters that weren't really supposed to physically be in the game that still have replay value to this day.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And the stories behind it make it even cooler,
Yeah, man, it's full of.
Because they had a falling out, didn't they? I mean, I think Boone and Tobias did not get along after a while. Is that right?
I think it was leading up to that direction. I don't even know if they work together now to this day.
No, they don't.
I'm pretty sure they don't. Yeah, I want to say they don't because I want to say Boone's brother and stuff works closely with him, and they still have Dan Fortin, like doing sound and stuff. But yeah, I don't think Tobias is there.
Okay, we spent quite a long time just on the original three. Let's start going into the turn of the 3D dimension or the third dimension with MK4.
Okay, yeah.
This is where everything starts to change, because now you're not just having the basic stuff of just side by side, back and forth. Now you got the side by side, and then coming into the consoles, they add the 3 different styles of combat for each character.
Yeah, they started with 4, where they tried to make all 3D and everything, and the thought is there, and like the
Right.
implementation just wasn't. It's because they were stepping out of their element. They were
That's
stepping out
probably the
of.
best. It's probably the best way you could put it. The thought was there.
But the
The
execution
intentions
was
were
just
good.
Yeah, but the execution was bad, because at this time you're looking at what you got: Tekken in that realm. You've got
Virtual Fighter,
Virtual Fighter, and then Soul Calibur. Those fighters that are starting to take shape. So they're like, again, we need to keep our crown, and so we're going to have to adapt. Which is what any successful franchise does that's been around for 30 years. They adapt, to the times, and it's just it's not my favorite one, obviously, but it's not the worst one, obviously. And y'all probably know which one is the worst, but I mean, it could have been better, but
MK versus DC. MK versus motherfucking DC.
Well, I was going to say Special Forces, but
no, that's not a fighting game.
I'd play Special Forces over MK versus DC any day.
Yeah.
A teen-rated Mortal Kombat should never ever exist, ever.
No, hell no.
That is 100% agreed.
But wait a minute, hold on. Am I right or not? Because am I alone in that? Am I alone in this opinion that MK versus DC is worse than Special Forces?
That is probably one of the worst rated ones.
No,
well, I won't say rated, but
agree. Dude, I'd rather play Special Forces than that fucking game.
Yeah,
I honestly don't know why it was considered a canon game for the timeline.
Yeah, I know that is your MK8, and I had to look that up because I was like, okay, you got 4. What was 5? I was like, okay, that was Deadly Alliance. Okay, well then after that was Deception. That's that's 6, and then 7 was Armageddon. Which up to that point, Armageddon, again, having everybody there, the thought is there, but just the execution and create your own fatalities, that was just so lame and terrible and stuff. But then MK9 comes out, and I'm just like, where's 8? Which one was 8? I should know this. And it is MK versus DC, and I'm like, good God, no way that has to count. Like, ugh.
Dude, that made no sense.
You guys,
of course, everybody, Superman, well, they're magic characters, and magic is a weakness, and it's like,
God, dude, I hate it. Like, I played it, I bought it, I played it, and I was just like, I got so bored of it. I was like, I don't, and still to this day, that's part of the reason why I don't like, even with the newest games, and they have, comic book characters and shit, and like, all right, I'll give a pass to like Jason Voorhees, dude. I'll give a pass to like, but like, I don't know, man. I just keep it MK, dude. Just keep it MK.
I agree.
Thank you. Preach. God, that's just I get it. It's cash grabs, and it's what people want to put. You're gonna put Leatherface. I love RoboCop and Terminator to death, and they put them in, but I'm like, no, I just don't. And Rambo, the fuck. Why Rambo? Like,
a horror character makes more sense than anyone else if you're going to add someone who's not part of the franchise. That's my opinion. But if you ask me, none of them. Just MK. That's all it should be.
Yeah, and it's if you're going to do that, then put MK characters that aren't on the roster that are there. Because I mean, look at 11. I mean, Molina wasn't there, and the outcry was substantial. I mean, enough to where they actually like, all right, sorry, we fucked up. We figured you guys would really, really like,
Kathy Briggs.
Whatever and stuff. So whatever.
Kathy Cage.
They put her back in, just to appease people. But it's like, just keep it MK lore, because then it's just you're adding guest characters that aren't part of the story, and then you have to make up stories to make them make sense, and it's just. Like when we didn't get Rain, it's like, I'd rather have Rain. Like, Rain's badass, and they made him even more badass, in the newer games. But it's like, how do you not have that? Or I think it was 10, you didn't have Sector and Cyrax. Like, how? Why?
Shit. My bad. You totally just reminded me of something. It was Sector and Cyrax that they were calling ketchup and mustard.
That's what I thought. I wasn't going to correct you. I was like, you're shit more than me, but I'm pretty sure it was Sector and Cyrax that were
No,
ketchup
you
and
should have
mustard.
corrected me because you are so right about that. What you were saying just totally jogged my memory. I'm like, okay, I fucked up. I'll own that. I fucked up. I'm just saying.
I thought that I was like, I knew about the aromatic part and stuff, and I was just like, was he orange? I was like, I could have sworn it was Sector and Cyrax because I saw stills where it said ketchup and mustard in the bars, and it was the two robots going. So okay,
I'm so glad you just brought them up because that just totally made me be like, all right, dude.
Okay, all right. Well, I thought I was being, but I was like, I'm not going to question you. You know your shit more than I do. So, but just back to the point.
My bad.
No, I'll just keep MK lore with it. But I know it's not the popular opinion, and Warner Brothers wants to make money. That's all it is. So, done.
Yeah. But I mean,
it's funny.
Go ahead,
Sean. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Sean?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, for other than us making fun of Mortal Kombat versus DC, 4 was the one I actually did not like, and just personal preference.
I couldn't get into 4 either. When I was introduced to 4, it was cool at the time that the characters had individual weapons. Like that was new. Like you could just pull a weapon out your ass, and it's like, oh shit, look, Sub-Zero has a fucking ice blade. That's cool. And I gotta say, like the Shinnok ending was pretty cool. Like you fucking punch him, and then he falls in the well, and his face is like deteriorating and shit. But other than that, I really couldn't get into the game either. It tried a little too hard. To me, I felt like it was that game almost made Mortal Kombat lose its appeal a bit.
Yeah, the thought was, you're so right, man. I still like MK4. I still play it. I queue it up from time to time, and I'll play it, but I don't play it for long. Some of the fatalities are cool, but I'm with you. The weapon thing. I don't know, man. I don't know how much I like the extra weapons. And plus, in MK4, it was done so poorly. Like, you get a weapon out, dude, and before you pull it out, dude, all the, like, something stupid happens and you drop it. And it's like, it's not even worth it, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the only one that actually had a decent weapon was Sub-Zero. He had that ice scepter and stuff, so he could freeze with it. But everybody else, it's like all you could do is uppercut, or you just do a baseball swing. And like you said, you would get hit with something in the environment, or as you're pulling it out, you get hit. Nope, there it is, and the computer's like yoink, and then just starts beating the shit out of you with it. And it's
and I think you lost me at the word scepter. If we have to have something with the word scepter involved, or like some like stupid weapon that they pull out, I'm like, God, dude, I don't know. I just like the whole hand-to-hand, like, just the OG MK shit. It's funny because we've been talking about the first 3 games getting to 4 so slowly, and then as soon as we got to 4, we're like, oh shit, let's talk about all this shit that's happened in the last 3 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Glaze right over it. You know what I mean?
Oh, this was just like the Castlevania. We were all over the place.
Yeah. I will say for MK4, just in my opinion, still has given one of the better fatalities of the franchise. And when I got Armageddon, because that was allegedly maybe the last Mortal Kombat game, but I got the bonus, like, special premium edition, like it's a metal case and everything, and so it came with the commentary at the end. So they had everybody pick what was their favorite fatality and worst fatality like they ever made up through Armageddon. And both of the titles are held by, from the Midway standpoint, are held by Quan Chi. And the best fatality is from MK4 when he rips your leg off and just beats the shit out of you. Like, that fatality for me is just like some of the best shit like ever. It's just a great fatality. But then on the flip side, from Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, which is weird because that game also wasn't that great because they went back to every character just had one fatality, which hadn't been done since MK1. Yeah. And so to be on, the newer consoles at the time, PlayStation 2, Xbox, all that, his neck stretch fatality, he just hopped onto your shoulders and pulled your head up, and then you just look like a dumbass giraffe, and he just fell over. Like Like
Oh.
that was the
I gotta
worst.
tell you, I'm gonna surprise the shit out of you guys, but that head stretch fatality, I actually have a soft spot for Deadly Alliance because it was a gap from being the last version was MK4 in the arcade, and the first one that came to like next gen consoles was Deadly Alliance, and I was 21 at the time, and me and my buddies would just sit around and get drunk and play that game, and I actually enjoyed it. And I would laugh my ass off every time that stupid head stretch fatality, dude.
Oh, you had to laugh at him.
It became one of my favorite fatalities to do was the head stretch.
Yeah, just for the shitting and like the stuff that just So it has a personal appeal. That's different. But I mean, it's like you had this hard fought battle.
Stupid.
It was, yeah, and the thing is, that was the only fatality he could do. So even if you're like, I want to fucking kill this guy, whatever, I just get to pull your head up, and it's still attached to you.
And like, so
it's not satisfying.
Last thing I'll say about MK4 is some of the things that pissed me off about it were like, okay, I get it. They were trying to think of new 3D versions of a way to do fatalities and gore, and like they would finish the fatality, and at the end, they'd be like holding the body, but of course they're always twitching. You know what I mean? They're always twitching around for like the whole time.
Yeah.
And then the blood coming out would keep coming out through like, okay, do you want to play another round? Select this and that, whatever. And like the blood coming out sounded like you were just glugging water out of a water bottle. And the only one that made it worth watching was the fucking leg rip, where he just keeps beating him while the screen comes up, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna continue, okay, and he's just beating him to death.
Yeah. Quan Chi wins, beating the shit out of him. Fatality, beating the shit out of him. Load screen, beating the shit out of him. Just like,
but it's funny because they only had so many sound bites, so like every time the guy gets hit, he's just going,
It's crazy because it's like part 4 was meant to be like the introduction to Quan Chi, which everyone fell in love with, and the downfall of fucking Reptile's look. I'm a big hardcore Reptile fan, and I don't know what the. I don't recognize that look in any way, shape, or form.
I'm with you.
Same, dude. I didn't even know that was Reptile until like you're reading the stuff, and it's like Reptile's in the game. I was like, that looks like Egghead.
That's Reptile. His cousin. That's not Reptile. Fuck that.
His twice removed cousin.
That's not stuff like. That's like.
Yeah, that's fake Reptile.
So I just have to ask, gentlemen. So there is one MK. I should play it. There's no excuses why I've never tried it, but there's one MK game I've never touched in my life. And I want to know if your opinions, if you actually played it, and that's Deception.
I love Deception.
I actually played the entire
really
PlayStation 2 series. They were all good. I loved them.
Loved Deception. I loved the whole conquest mode in it, being Shujinko and going. And, basically, once you get everything finished with him, you get to basically get a hodgepodge of, like, popular moves. Like, he could do Scorpion Spear, he could freeze, he could do Liu Kang's Bicycle Kick, Raiden's, Hottie Buddy Yay, all like across the...
I was a big fan of Deception, dude. And I think Deception was the catalyst to them saying, okay, the fans love the open world shit. Not open world, but they love that, like, first person or maybe third person type thing.
Third person,
and that's what ended up going to Shaolin Monks after that, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that game, that's when that introduced Sub-Zero as Shredder, and I always liked that look. I thought it was pretty dope and stuff because like he had like the fur coat with it and stuff, but he also still had all the metal and everything.
Going, dude.
Right, yeah. That was Baraka's first reemergence and stuff, so that hit close to me. So I was all happy about that.
I loved how dark the game was. Just the menus when you're getting into the game, and it was just like the background has like it's all like almost like a Halloween look. You know what I mean? I loved how dark it was.
There was a thunderstorm, like you were seeing lightning hit the screen and stuff, and you had thunder, and it was just. Yeah, I mean I love Onaga as a boss for it and everything, and it was just the chess combat was kind of different.
Mortal Kombat. Motor
Yeah,
Kombat.
Motor Combat was
that
good.
was Armageddon. That was in Armageddon was Mortal
Oh
Kombat.
yeah, you're right.
But
Okay, well,
But they
you're
had
gonna be
chess.
schooling me from here
Oh
on
wait,
out, man.
no,
'cause
no,
this is
no,
where I
no,
start to get
no,
fucked up.
no. You're close. Motor Combat was before it. This had the answer to some degree of Street Fighter's Puzzle Fighter. They had the
Oh
Mortal
yeah.
Kombat Puzzle
Yeah.
Fighter, and that was actually a lot of fun to play and stuff. You know, depending on which character, they had a different special ability or whatever and stuff, and they would still do fatalities at the end when you won. You know, you push them into a grinder or whatever. And that also, I think, Deception was the first one that brought in instant fatalities in stages. I want to say because I don't think they did that in Deadly Alliance. But Deception is where
where
it started.
instant stage fatalities. Yeah, that was in Deception, right? For sure, they had the stage
Yeah.
fatalities.
Yeah, because you would hit them to a yellow blinking area and stuff. That would just go to a next level or next part of that stage. But if you got around a red one, that was instant win. I mean, you could start the game on that. You know, I'd sit there and do like 2 Baraka's like blade lunges, and if I knew that was like the cliff or knocking them onto like the lava smasher and stuff like that, just do it twice, you're done. So
Yeah,
it definitely brought a different fighting element to it because you had to know how to play the game, but you also had to be aware of your surroundings because if you got backed up on one of those, it could be done.
was Yin Yang Island in Deception? That was the one where it was a tropical island, then it would thunderstorm and switch to like snakes as palm trees and all that.
Yep, yeah, and then if you knock them into the water, the piranhas
all
got to them and everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Wales would be the one who's refreshed on all this stuff, considering that challenge he did before recently, where he actually went through every game in order and cleared them.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that. It was fun. It's a good jog down memory lane because I'm in college during all this, so you got buddies coming over and doing stupid shit and everything else, and just playing Mortal Kombat with it. But Deception was good, and then after that is Armageddon, which I don't know about you guys, but I'll sit there and still to this day, and people have actually up-resed it to 1080p. That intro for Armageddon is freaking awesome. If you
is that the one where you're flying over all the like islands and stuff? Yeah, dude.
It's everybody just fighting to try and get to the top of the pyramid and everything.
Yep. Oh god, that is such a good intro. Oh my god, I'm so glad you brought that up. That was like a cinematic experience.
It was. Yeah. And because you're like, oh, there's Scorpion, oh, there's this person, at the end when they're fighting, you see who's died or whatever. Like for me, Baraka's got Kung Lao's hat splitting him in half and everything, and
there's so much freaking nostalgia baked into that. Such a good intro, and then you play the game and you're like, okay,
yeah. It's like, I know where
you put in here.
Yeah, I know. It's like, well, now I know where your budget went. You made this badass opening scene, and then you're like, yeah, it's like $350. Just whatever you want.
Dude, like, take a look at Motaro for a great example. Like, how the fuck did you cut off half his legs and make him a fucking like just a guy with horse legs?
Wait, what happened?
Body, dude. Yeah, Motaro's in the game, but he's like standing upright like a fucking normal person, dude. He doesn't have.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yup.
Yeah,
and they had a backstory for it, but I'm like, you don't fucking do that to one of the greatest bosses in the fucking MK universe, dude.
Oh god, he was such a frickin' he was so annoying in MK3. Holy shit,
he was harder than Khan.
You just jump kick. You got to jump kick him to death. That's all you can do. Jump kick, dude.
Mm-hmm. You can jump kick and then try a combo, and then when you did the harder ones, that's when you started doing those like multiple fireballs and shit. I mean, you'd be dead and it'd be saying Mortar's winning, and you're still getting hit with fireballs, just beating the shit out of you. He was way harder than Khan ever was in MK3.
Khan just likes to fucking laugh at you. This guy was just getting face.
God, that's why I loved him in Defenders of the Earth. I know this is like canon and we're going off and stuff, but like his just charge that he would do. God, I love that move. I'm glad they don't because he was already hard enough as he was. I mean, you teleport the shit out of you.
Yeah.
But I love Montaro. He's probably my favorite, pre-boss character and stuff because Kantaro was fun too, but it's like it's the same thing. You just got to time kicks, and eventually you can do it. But Montaro, you gotta have some skill. You got to be off the ground. You got to be able to counter. And I just love the look of him too. He was always just a mean looking badass. So yeah, seeing him just with 2 legs and then a steel tail coming out of his ass, No, like just no, man.
Yeah. Uh, and I mean,
Dude, you want?
I was gonna say during that PS2 era of games, they did have some shitty bosses. I mean,
Yeah, like Blaze. What a
Blaze.
dick.
Please.
I was not a fan of Onaga, but that's just me.
I like his
What was the
look,
other
but
two? What was the other two dumbasses? Tegan and Davon. What was their name?
Tegan and Davon, yeah, you're right.
Okay, I
And,
got that
yep,
right.
you
Can't believe
got
I
it.
even
You
got that
nailed it.
right.
Yeah.
I think it was because they're eternally etched into my memory as the two biggest freaking dumb fucks. Like I just hated them. I'm like, they're so stupid. Don't ever bring them back. Like just like two normie norms.
Yeah, it's like you might as well keep mocap and meat in there and stuff. At least they had some kind
Oh
of,
man.
God,
Okay.
yeah.
Oof.
you know. But yeah, the other bosses, like I was not a fan of Moloch in Deadly Alliance. He was just a cheap because he just sit there and just punch you straight, and he had such range with
What
that
the
ball
fuck?
and
He had the
chain.
ball, yeah,
The
dude. I
ball
think
and chain.
we called him like
Oh,
mullet or something. What do we call
it's
him back in the day, dude?
no, oh, I don't know.
Some dumb
His name was
name.
his name was Moloch, but it's like I could only beat him with like Scorpion or Quan Chi because you have to get the weapons out and just do sword moves and stuff, just like basically cartwheels and reverse and stuff, and that was the only way to do damage because he would just. And then he like I think he had like it was like a wind move or something where like pulled you in or something, and then he just punch you across screen, pull you back in, and I'm like I can't, and it was unblockable. So you just set the controller down and you're like just go. You know,
I think we can all agree that spamming anything to beat a boss is fair game.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they spam it, obviously. So I mean,
Oh yeah. If they get to, it's fair game for you.
right?
So in some weird, subtle way, guys, I don't know if any of you gentlemen would agree with me here. So when you kind of look at Deadly Alliance, you know Shang Tsung was the final boss again.
Yeah.
So it almost feels like that was supposed to be some kind of soft reboot to one. And the only reason I say is if you look at 9, you had the original OG. You had Shao Kahn with Kentaro. And it really part 2, but in like 3D.
Oh yeah. I mean, I replayed 9 just recently, and it literally condensed, Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 together, and threw their spin on let's change the new character, or let's change how the characters, evolve, like Sector and Cyrax being human at the start of the game and partially through. Oh, now they're all getting cybernetic.
Yeah, I love 9. 9 was a great. 9 was the what trilogy should have been, in my opinion. Like I mean, trilogy was good, but 9 made it had just probably up to this point, in my opinion, still I could be wrong, but like to me, that's still my favorite roster, just because it had basically all the OGs in it.
Well,
And
9 paid the most homage, I think,
Mhm.
right?
Definitely.
MK9, they paid the most homage to classics.
And that's why it was called just Mortal Kombat. It wasn't even MK9.
Right,
It was just
right.
Mortal Kombat. And so to me, it made sense. It looked good. It played good. You know, it was a great way to restart the franchise and then you tell the same story that we all know. Because like I said, is the newer games have come out, we've paid attention to the story more. And this one goes all the way back, takes you back to the first Mortal Kombat. And you're kind of seeing that story that we all know now, but now you're seeing it in a different light and stuff. So it played really well.
When I bought MK9, it was right before it was like a couple years before I moved down to Florida. I've been in Florida now for like 12 years. And I did the whole I bought the ultra premium package with the separate fight stick box. So I have the whole control panel with the fight stick, dude. It's got like the velvet bottom, pillowed bottom. You can sit it on your lap, plug it in. And if you open up the box and you lift it up, it's got like a clear acrylic bottom and you can see all the like micro switches and wiring and everything on the bottom. It was such a cool thing to buy, man. I still have it boxed up in mint condition, just sitting in a closet in my house. And I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever use it again, but I don't want to ever get rid of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, no way.
I wouldn't.
No way.
That was MK9, right? That was the premium I think I paid like $300 for like that premium package to get that, dude.
I think so because I don't recall something like that for X.
Mm-mm. No, and
Yeah,
that
I think it
wasn't.
was MK9. It was the one that was like just Mortal Kombat, like what you're saying. So MK9.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen them go up on eBay and stuff, and people still want like a pretty penny for it. But I'm like, it's
Yeah, it's
honestly, dude, it's better than Wolf's Game Box. I'll tell you that.
yes,
It-
it's Mortal Kombat 9, the tournament edition.
Dude, that's what I bought, and I
Yeah.
still to this day, I never regretted that purchase. Like, what a cool! I'm talking like all half freaking super quality fight sticks, everything, man. It's a good purchase, dude.
And now
Actually,
you have,
I should make a video about that. I should review that thing, dude.
oh
I
yeah,
would.
Yeah.
I never
Definitely.
saw it. I didn't even know that was a thing until you just said something. So I
Bro,
even want to look it up just to
I
see what
should
it
break
looks
that
like.
out and make a video. You just stealed my next
Yeah.
like review video, man.
Make it so, dude. I would
Sorry.
be all over that.
Eli, I didn't mean to. You were gonna say something. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, that's fine, brother. I was just gonna say something with 9 that I thought was still cool and still cool to this day is that menu, dude. You hit a button and then you got fucking like Scorpion doing the fucking uppercuts or something.
Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
moving.
Dude. Like that was
Yeah.
so cool.
They did that. And then you go to the next one, and it shows like the X-ray of like his skull crashing, and it's like frozen and stuff. It
so
was
sweet.
So good.
That was
man.
that was a great game, man. That was actually okay. I like having conversations like this because even though I don't play those games anymore, these conversations remind me of the things that I actually liked that game more than I remember that I liked it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And honestly, I feel like we should absolutely not gloss over Shaolin Monks. That is.
Oh,
Oh
man.
no.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
Shaolin Monks was probably one of my favorite of the non-traditional Mortal Kombat fighters.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait until, dude. Even Ed Boon recently, like on his AMAs on Twitter and stuff, people have asked him about doing the version that they haven't done yet, which is Fire and Ice. So like you did the Shaolin Monks with Liu Kang and Kung Lao, and they're talking about doing Fire and Ice, and he said definitely not ruled out. You know what I mean? So, dude, imagine having like a reboot of something like that on the newest gen consoles, Fire and Ice, and like a whole, co-op version of a game to play where you're immersed in these backgrounds that we all know and love, and it's like, man, that sounds so fucking sweet,
Oh, definitely.
Take my money. Take my money.
Dude, literally, just
Here.
let me rain D69 tokens.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yep.
man.
Man, I feel like a douche now. I'm gonna run done have them.
So, that reminds me, dude, I got to do like a merch swoop that I've been putting off. I've just been so busy lately. It's like I got to like concentrate and do a merch swoop here, dude. I need some of those tokens, man, bad.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can get some S5K ones easy.
Yeah.
I absolutely should. I don't even know what the purpose is, but all I know is they are beloved so far.
They look like they could be the size of. They look like the size of coasters. Maybe
Yeah,
you could
Yeah,
they
they
are.
coasters.
They actually are
Yeah.
coasters. If I'm right.
Oh.
From what I read on Adam's description, they're meant to be coasters, but they're just so fucking good, dude.
I won't use it as a coaster. No.
Amazing. And just gotta have our boys support on it.
Hell yeah,
course.
dude.
But I mean, we've gone through majority of the games. I think we have 3 left of the main franchise, and then hell, we didn't even talk about the movies and the cartoon and TV show.
I know we shit on MK
Yeah.
versus DC, and rightfully so. But I will say, and you guys already know this and stuff. Without that game, though, you don't have Injustice.
Yeah,
You don't
didn't
have any of the Injustice games because even as not as great as that game was and stuff, it got Warner Brothers thinking, well, what if they got the DC characters to fight and play in a good fighting game? What if we actually made a standalone with just those characters, and it went well because I've never played any of the Injustice games, but I've like I said, I've sat there and I've watched what the whole story was, and it's an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes long, and it's a great story.
Oh,
and
it's even
stuff.
more
So,
messed up in the comic books. Like
I'm
leading
sure
up
it
to all
is.
those different events, there's some really messed up shit.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that game sucks balls, but without it, you don't have any of the Injustice games. So
Yeah.
there is something good that did come out of MK versus DC.
MK versus DC, holy shit.
Right.
As much as we shit on it, we do have to give it props for what it actually gave us because of it.
Stuff to shit on.
Yeah.
No, actually, listen, the fight mechanics and the whole thing, like it was a fluid game, man, for sure. I played it, but when I see like a puff of red spit instead of like blood flopping on the ground, dude, it's like, all right, man, this ain't Mortal Kombat, bro. Keep your peanut butter out of my chocolate. Like, let's just.
Yes, that is a great analogy. But yeah, when you get watered down fatalities where Baraka will just shove you down, then pounce on you and impale you with his blades, and it's like spritz. I think of like a water bottle, like you sprayed a dog when it's not like just that of blood, and then that's it. And then he does his pose. I'm like, the fuck is that? That's not
the best comparison is like the Super Nintendo version of MK1 when it came to fatalities.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Let's dumb it down. Let's make it. Yeah, sweat. It's sweat. Stupid.
It's sweat. Lots of sweat. Yeah. Yeah. And then your final boss is Dark Khan.
Khan, yeah.
Darkseid and Shao Kahn had an illegitimate son, Dark Khan.
That whole game was a Dark Khan, man. We got Khan out of every dime we spent on it.
God.
Oh man.
And then your heroes do heroic brutalities. They're not finishers. And it's like, I mean, that would kill somebody. We're like, no, they're still alive. It's like Flash just punched this dude like 500 times and like slammed him into the ground, and like there's a crater there. Like they're fucking dead. Don't sit there and say that's just a brutality and they just got up and brushed it off. Like, no, it's
no.
Dude, I will say that the last version of any one of those games that I actually bought, like a real, like a bound strategy guide book, was Shaolin Monk. And it was the bass player in our band. Him and I still are super close to this day. And when that game came out, I bought the strategy guide and everything, and we sat there and we played Shaolin Monks co-op for hours and hours and hours, dude. We beat the game several times over, and I just remember how much fun that game was to play, and like just bumming around in those environments that, like, at one point it was just, like for example, the Living Forest. You don't know what's beyond that stuff, but the next thing you know, you're playing in these arenas where you're getting a more immersive look in what you know what I mean? It was just such a cool concept. I didn't do any strategy guides or nothing after that. I mean, that was like the deepest scope of my nerdism that I ever got into. And like, I just think that game, I can't underestimate that game, dude. That was such a good fucking game, dude.
I would love.
Oh yeah.
They need a remaster bad.
What was so fun about that game too was the hidden bosses. Like you could fight Ermac, dude. Like you could fight Melina. Like
yeah.
For them to even go that far and do it. And it's just a good story, dude. Like to this day, it still has so much replay value. I still play it. I love that game. And one of the best introductions too. Just screaming at Mortal Kombat and everyone's fighting, dude. So sick.
Dude, my son and I have played that game together we've probably played through it 2 or 3 times since the last 10 years. And now he's 21 now, so we're not really playing a lot of games together anymore. But like the replay value, you hit the hammer right on the nail. Like that game was already 10 years old by the time I was playing it with my kid, and he was a teenager, and we would play through it. I'll tell you one thing, we have never ever beaten it as Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Only as Liu Kang and Kung Lao. I don't know what it is about it. We could not beat Kintaro and Shao Kahn as Scorpion and Sub-Zero, dude. And the thing that I thought was the biggest ball drop in it was after you beat it and you can play through it as Subby and Scorpion, is the cutscenes were Scorpion and Sub-Zero, but they're using the same monologues that were Liu Kang and Kung Lao. That drove me nuts, dude. How could you not change that?
Yes. Nail on the fucking head, dude. That I was just saying, I could even fucking continue this with these characters. It's like, it doesn't feel right.
Dude, they could have done that. I'm not gonna fault it because it's still one of the best. Like, I don't know what you want to call it, a co-op, or I use RPG very loosely, but it's not really an RPG, right? You guys wouldn't consider that an RPG, right? I mean, I don't know. This is where my nerddom really falls off, because I only really know MK in the classic mode, and I don't know.
Right.
I use terminology that I shouldn't be using. Plus, I've been drinking, and I'm probably going to hit the weed pen in a little bit.
Oh, man. No, I would have called Shaolin Monks like a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
There you go.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
I would accept that. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, feel free to call me out, dude, because I'll say some dumb shit that I don't know about when I'm talking about shit like this.
No, that's fine, man.
You can tell that after we glazed over the whole classic mode and I start getting into like the newer console stuff, that's when my terminology really just turns into some fuckery. So.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I mean, honestly, with the reboot at 9, it was good to see everything again with a new coat of paint on it. But then having Mortal Kombat 10, where you start to have the next generation of characters start popping up. Kotal Khan, Cassie, Jackie.
Actually, I like Kotal Khan. There's something about him I like, man. I like Kotal Khan.
Yeah, 10 is the one I probably know the least amount on, just because I didn't really play it. You know, I never owned it and stuff. So, because they were supposed to make it for PlayStation 3, and they kept delaying it, and then they just like, just not happening. So I never really played it.
10 to me is such a masterpiece, man. The only negative I have to give 10, which I'm so grateful for the new remake that's coming out, is the variations fucked with me so hard. And I'll tell you why. Some variations had the coolest fucking moves, and you could never take that move and use it on a variation you like to kind of make it better. You had to just kind of switch around. And it was just so stupid to me. I know that had a bigger impact on 11, and which is why, don't even get me started on 11 when we get there. I'm going to really fucking have it.
The floor is yours.
X, man, Jesus Christ, what a good game, dude. Aside from it fucking picking up the speed, you know, it was just brutal. The X-rays, I think, I don't recall if X also had the breaker system in it too. But damn, dude, just what a good roster. And it's just like to Scan's point, having Jason Voorhees on there was just such a good fucking call.
Yeah.
That is an awesome fucking character on there. And I'm going to have to give Leatherface too. His Butcher is perfect.
Horror. Perfect. They're meant to kill. That's why they make sense.
Dude, it would have. I honestly didn't care for Predator. Though Alien is a really good character, don't get me wrong. Really, it fell off. And I think the biggest nod to X that I really do appreciate, because he didn't make it in Mortal Kombat Trilogy, was the fact that Tremor finally made it into the fucking game.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to remember Tremor's MO, man. This is where I'm falling off, man. Tremor.
Yeah, he's Earth. He's brown, typically.
Yep. He was. What's the Avengers character that's similar to Tremor? Is it Thanos or something? What's the
like the Thing?
No, I'm thinking like a See, this is where, listen, I'm telling you, man, I do not fucking do good here. What's the guy that's more of an Earth Tony looking guy? Maybe he's not on the Avengers. Is it?
The Thing from the Fantastic Four.
The Thing from Fantastic
No,
Four.
the Thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right. See, this is where I fall off. I'm gonna let you guys just take it from here because fuck me.
No, you're there. That's actually a pretty good comparison because I never thought about it that way. But yeah, that's there. I wouldn't disagree with it, but
I mean, I'll give you that. I think I like his look a lot better in the Mutants when someone actually cloned a copy of one of the ninjas, just made it brown, but actually gave him a cool ass fucking moveset. So he's a lot more cool to me in like the homemade games. I didn't like his design, but I just thought it was just really cool just to have like a fucking extra ninja just to do something different, you know? Like you have like earth, ice, fire, acid. Now a psychic, you have water, and now you have a guy that does fucking like earth ability. So like fucking unique in its own way, dude.
Yep. And then lightning with Raiden and wind with Fujin. So I mean like all of Earth's, elements or whatever and stuff are represented in Mortal Kombat if you really think about it.
And how they haven't snuck something weed related in with smoke will never I just don't, you know what I mean? Just a little snippet, something with a fatality, something, I don't know.
He starts dancing to Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. It's funny because that was Cyrax's friendship where he'd sit there and do like the whole
Which man. The introduction to Triborg in that game was just so fucking good.
Yeah, that was one of the only DLC character that I actually played was Triborg.
So that's the one that's what Sector, Cyrax, and Smoke all in one.
All in one, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where that originated. I thought that originated on Mugen just because somebody made that. That's actually in the legit Mortal Kombat games. Like I said, X I don't know much about. So
right.
Wow. Ooh.
Yeah, that's where he was introduced, and honestly had the best. I'm a giant Goro fan. You know that when it comes to MK bosses, it's definitely Shao Kahn, Goro, and Motaro, hands down. And X has the best fucking Goro variation in there, dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So
I'm trying to think of X. Which was that the one where there was an arena dedicated to him, dead on a throne in the background?
That's 11.
That's 11 now.
Okay.
That's 11.
All right. Okay.
Because that's one of my favorite characters is when you. That's why I like Shang Tsung and MK2 so much because you could pick. You're not just stuck to one character. And Triborg, I love all those characters. So having them all rolled into one and all their movesets is amazing. Just like to me, I mean, yeah, I'm a big Baraka fan, but it's like if I go to Mugen or I put the code in on Trilogy, I love being Chameleon because Chameleon was all the ninjas together. I mean, you didn't get to pick, which also another reason I like that character is because it made you be on your toes. It could change to whoever ninja, on a whim, and you just have to know. Okay, now I'm Reptile. Now I need to do these moves. Now I'm switched to Noob. Now I need to do these moves, and it's just I like having multiple characters at once, but it also just makes you be a better player because it forces you to know on the fly different move sets and characters. So I really like those two characters.
Oh, dude,
if I have the ability.
Oh, absolutely, man. I agree with you there. And
I want to say I heard that there's a rumor that Chameleon, or probably a side character, I think is Chameleon. It's not an actual playable character in this new one coming out.
Yeah, I've heard Chameleon. I think it's going to be based on the girl. It's going to be a side character.
The girl one. So it depends on the system you had. If you had the PlayStation form of Trilogy, then it was a male Chameleon. If you had the N64 version, it was a female character, and it was a silver or gray female character, looked like Katana, but everybody was like, "Who is this?" And it was just the N64 got the female Katana or Chameleon, and PlayStation got the male.
I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I've got that, I've got the art that I have up in my arcade room and stuff. I have basically it's basically MK 1 through 4, and it has all the character stuff listed. I get that question the most, and people look up. There's a gray or silver female ninja on there, and they're like, "Who the hell is that?" They're like, "That's not Jade. This is pre-Scarlet." and it's not Katana or Melina because they're right here. And I'm like, that is the female chameleon. Because chameleon over here is the male, and it has the mask on that art has like just red, blue, red, green, blue, all the different colors on the mask. And for the female, it's just the silver costume, but that's the N64 version of chameleon. So,
Right. So much characters though.
Oh yeah.
Too much shit.
So now do we want to get to 11 and let
Yeah.
Eli have his?
Yeah, just let him have it.
your
Eli.
rant.
Yeah,
let the beard have it.
Yeah, the chairman acknowledges
So
Eli.
I like 11 for the most part. I would not. So I have a few disappointments with 11, and I think the community, would understand where I'm coming from with this. Variations were somehow a lot worse in 11, and it gave you the option to be able to customize it, but it wasn't enough. So who's a good example? So let me just use Milena. She has a particular move that you can't fucking use. Something that where she kind of rolls on you and does like this 5-finger Monty on your face. Then one of the other variations has a cool fucking the way she does her side throw. I think it's the air side throw. Or she does a split and does it at your legs. I can't remember which one. I just hated the fact that you couldn't equip that with a variation that you really liked. It was just either blocked off or it was just impossible. And I just thought that was just the most terrible market with the game. It's just like, yeah, X did it and it was the first introduction and it kind of worked. I don't understand how it somehow got worse when 11 came around. And I'm not, I know a lot of people also bitch about the speed of 11. I think for the most part, 11 was cool for what it was. I have to agree with my boy Scan. Another thing I do not fucking like, and Wales, I hated the idea of fucking, what is RoboCop doing in the game? Rambo, it just didn't make
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Yeah.
Exactly. And oddly enough, I know Joker being there was a little odd for people, but dude, the character made sense in that particular universe because you got to let him fucking be Joker. It's unlike DC where he was just like so fucking rated PG, it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Deathstroke, PG-13. Like, really? Are we?
Yeah.
Just
the guest characters for 11 were not my favorite. I mean, Spawn. Okay, that actually would fit. Terminator, RoboCop, and Rambo, not so much.
I think they only did RoboCop and Turn because that was when Terminator Dark Fate came out. So they're trying to plug that movie with it, but also just there was always between fanboys what would happen if RoboCop and Terminator ever fought. And they made the video game on it. It's one of my favorite Sega Genesis games of all time. But like it didn't make sense, and they tried. I mean, they got Peter Weller to voice it, and that was RoboCop and everything. And they couldn't get Arnold though. They got a really close, I guess, sound alike for him. But just thinking of characters that didn't make that roster that are Mortal Kombat lore, I would have rather had them.
Yeah.
Like it just
like
I don't know.
It annoyed me because the game was in the works of bringing in Sector and Cyrax because you can only play with them or play as them in the story mode or briefly.
Yeah.
Apparently they were supposed to be DLC characters along with Reptile. Reptile was hinted at quite remarkably, and my only dislike for 11 is just how quick they were just able to just drop this fucking game. And it's so incomplete still. And just like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, so that started in 10 then, the whole variation stuff. Because like for me, I was doing everything I could to unlock brutalities and stuff. And for Baraka, I did everything I could to line up everything so I had all fatalities and all brutalities, but you couldn't do that. Like there were 2 brutalities that I had to not be able to use because I didn't use the variation that had to pull a stupid ass flag and just slam it into the ground like it's fucking Captain Planet or something. Like it just You know, it just sucked and everything. And then going and then playing as other characters, it's like I love this move, but I hate the way the character looks, or I don't like the other moves with it, but I like all these other moves. Why can't I have these different combos or moves, and it's like you just can only use it if you're this fighter.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was odd, and I didn't like how that was done. So hearing Eli say it and have it make more sense to me, then that's definitely a misstep. And I hope they don't do that for one. I really hope they don't.
Did we touch on this earlier, or I think we might have, but the fighting styles, having to like kind of switch through the fighting styles for each character and having different moves based on the fighting style.
I don't think.
Did we not? Okay.
I glanced over it. We didn't get in depth on that.
That drives me nuts. I don't
Yeah.
like having to switch between fighting styles, man. Like, just give me the moves for the character, bro. Like, don't make me shuffle through a fighting style. I don't like that. That's just me. I don't know how you guys feel.
I completely agree, because I started playing some of the older ones, and it's like, here to do this great combo to continue on in the training mode.
Right.
It's do a three-hit attack and then switch over and do another 3-hit attack. It's like, that was just annoying as hell just to get the right timing.
Oh, dude, it's too much. I feel like there's a fine line between making people have to do too much shit to pull off what you're trying to tell them to do, than just, hey man, just take that feature out of there and just let people fucking play the game. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I get it, because they're trying to evolve and they're trying to make things different, and you don't know that people are going to hate it until you put it out and they try it and they don't like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, they were trying to mirror actual martial arts, like real fighting styles and stances and stuff. Like, I remember Shang Tsung, like he'd be fighting and then all of a sudden he'd go to Snake and do this whole thing. Or my favorite was Bo Raicho. Like his default, he had
the drunken fist.
The drunken.
Oh my god!
He would go from holding the stick and he'd beat you with a stick or something. All of a sudden, you would hit L1 and the stick's gone. And he's.
How in the world have we not talked about Bo Raicho yet? That is such a fail. Oh my god!
Oh my god! Thank you, Wales.
What a great character. I have loved him since the day he was freaking born. Like, the whole concept of Bo Raicho, which, if my Mortal Kombat knowledge serves me correctly, I believe Bo Raicho means drunk in Spanish or something fucking crazy like that. Like, it's the word for drunk or intoxicated, but like, dude, and then he would fart. The fart just killed me, dude.
Yeah, he would fart and throw up. He would projectile vomit, or he'd light the torch.
Oh, what a good character! Oh my god, he's my guy. I'm just in newer consoles. He's my guy, dude. He's my guy.
Yeah, he's the chaos. He's the chaos from Primal Rage. Like, that's like what his
big time.
And then like his throat.
Gloss over Bo Raicho. Holy shit! What a
And his throw, his inner throw, you grab, he just like throw them on the ground and just like belly flop them like from the top rope like twice. And just the whole excuse me.
One of his fatalities wasn't him like farting somebody to death, and he was like,
yes.
Yeah, and then he'd get done and be like, "Oh, stinky," or whatever.
Yeah, that was a stinky dude. Here's the thing, like, the corny things in Mortal Kombat that really pissed me off, I literally let all of them go when they created Bo Raicho, dude, because he was such an awesome character, dude. Yeah, dude, what a freaking, I love it. I'm good with Bo Raicho. I'm Bo Raicho right now.
Oh.
Yeah, I think in my mobile game, when you do something, I think it's like he does some kind of move or something. I think he farts something like that, and he'll be like, "Oh, too much rice and wine and stuff," and like toast at he would toast at the screen, and you'd see like whisk or whatever is in his drink like splash onto the screen and stuff, and it's just so fun.
Drunken fist. What an oh my god, what a golden fight mode, dude. I will say, of all of the bitching I did about having to shuffle through fight modes, the one that I will give a pass to is Drunken Fist playing with Barito, dude. Oh my god, that's so funny. Just I don't know, squeaking out a little fart when you're playing. Like, dude, I would die laughing playing against somebody to the point where I couldn't pull something off because I'm just laughing at the character, dude.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm a sucker for a good fart, so
yeah.
Oh man. But okay, so we've gotten up to MK11, which reboots for the second time for the series, which is leading us to Mortal Kombat 1.
Okay.
So, I mean, so far everything I've seen, it looks great. It looks gonna be like it's gonna be fun. There's some things I'm gonna nitpick. You know, Scorpion not being Hanzo anymore.
Right.
Okay.
And
they're brothers, right? I mean, isn't that
yeah.
Essentially, Scorpion is Kyle. What is Bihan's brother's name again?
Basically the one who had the red scar or the red paint on his face. That version of Sub-Zero
MK3.
He becomes it.
There's speculation. So we know Takeda is going to be a DLC character, but Takeda is just a code name. And Takeda, before Takeda, there was like the Great Kung Lao.
Yeah.
There was an OG Takeda. There's speculation that Takeda is going to be Hanzo.
Yeah. There's that going around. And well, I'll discuss the other thing that I found later, but they have the rumor of what Combat Pack 2 is. And yeah. And it looks good, but we'll focus. What are you actually hoping for in Mortal Kombat 1, each of you?
Well, one thing that they did take away, which I'm grateful, and I know Wales, you'll be happy about this, there is no longer no variations or no conquest mode. No crypt mode.
Thank you, baby Jesus. Thank you. Because I'm just like, you're handicapping your fan base by not allowing them to experience the whole game or making them choose to do something that they don't want to do. So thank you, Eli. I appreciate that.
So my thing is, and I know unfortunately I'm not going to get anywhere because I'm not a big anybody in this world for this game, and they're already kind of doing it, introducing 3 fucking superheroes. Dude, I just hope we get more of a bulk of Mortal Kombat characters. We haven't seen fucking years, dude. Like, don't get me wrong, I was shocked to see Derek come back, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, Derek and Natara, like she's back and everything.
I'm
and
actually
then and Darius, I don't know if he's playable, but he's like an assist character. Like,
yeah, he's a cameo.
There he is.
Like you know, and Striker's a cameo in it, I think. And but yeah,
I'll take Striker, but like Darius, I just think Darius Rucker when I hear that name, dude. Rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel.
I will say I am curious
moron.
to see if Rico becomes a playable character or is he just a cameo. I've heard both. So that would be interesting just because if you remember in 4, when you win, he goes and sits on Shao Kahn's throne and the helmet comes down and it looks just like him. So it's like, is this the pre-Shao Kahn? Like, is it Rico? You know, and how are they going to play that? You know, spin that with it,
or was Rico whatnot. The real Shao Kahn, as Shao Kahn was a body double, or you know,
right? Yeah, or this before he gets whatever corrupts him and stuff, and he becomes all powerful or whatever. You know, like since they're making Katana Molina actually like blood sisters, and the Tarkatan isn't a race; it's a disease now and stuff. And that's why she gets to figure like I like a lot of these story arcs. I'm just hoping that now I'm happy knowing the variation's gone because I was stressing that like hard. And I'm just curious to see how kind of like these tag assist moves. I mean, I know we've seen gameplay, and I've seen them actually do tag assist fatalities, I think.
Yeah.
I've seen the one where Frost comes in and stuff. So having Frost back is really cool. I always was a fan of Frost.
Yeah, Frost is cool. I'm down with a little Frost.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it looks like a good roster. I mean, we just won't know till it's all over. But as far as the DLC, getting Takeda and then Quan Chi, it's like, dude, how do you not have those? And then Ermac, of course. It's like, how are you omitting these people, but you're bringing back, non real popular characters and stuff like that, and then you're bringing in basically the same superhero just in three different variations. I mean,
exactly.
I've never watched a Peacemaker. I've never watched Omni Man.
What
I've never watched.
superheroes? What superheroes are they bringing back?
That's
Or
what
what are they trying to do?
they're bringing in Omni Man, Peacemaker, and Homelander, and they're all the same damn people, from what I just gather.
I'm just gonna level with you guys. I don't know who the fuck any of those people are. I've
Yeah.
never even fucking heard of them. I don't.
The only reason
Seriously.
I know him is because I've heard everybody else in the group talk about him. Like I said, I've never
Yeah.
watched an episode of any of those three things. I don't care. It's not, I don't know. It's basically Homelander is basically Superman, but if he just didn't give a fuck,
Yeah.
and was drunk or just did what he wanted to do whenever he wanted to do because it made sense to him at that time. Omni Man
His
is
name
apparently
is
a
like
dick.
his name is equally as stupid as whatever that frickin' Will Smith superhero Hancock. Sounds like
Hancock.
Oh.
like
Oh.
that sounds so stupid. It's kind of bumming me
Yeah.
out that this is even part of it. So, like, to answer your question, Sean, what am I most excited about with this newest installment is it looks like they're going way back to their roots, to the very beginning of what. Right? Unless I'm wrong. I
Right.
mean, it sounds like they're going back to the very beginnings, even like before Mortal Kombat, to figure out what the fuck it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
So hopefully, I can only hope that they pay some sort of homage to the OG shit, which is what I always hope for and what we rarely ever get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the superhero, like those three superhero names, I've never even heard them. I don't even know anything about them. I'm so surface level when it comes to shit like that. Like, I just got too much other shit going on. I like what I like, and if you're
Yeah.
gonna keep bringing in some stupid shit, like, I don't know, that type of shit bums me out, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally in the same boat. I mean, are any of those three, I guess, Warner Brothers owned, or are they just? How does that even work?
Homelander, no. Homelander's no. They're all Peacemaker's Warner Brothers, so that's DC.
Okay, so that makes sense. Okay.
The other two are both different.
Now, Peacemaker, is that John Cena?
Yeah, that's John
Yes.
Cena, the
Likeliness.
stick up his ass soldier who wants to blow everything up.
Fun fact. Did you know that John Cena lives in Lando Lake?
Shut up. No.
I swear to God, he lives in either Lando Lakes or Lutz. He lives right here near us. One of my buddies has actually been to his house for a party a couple years ago.
Oh, wow.
I don't doubt it. Yeah.
No way. And I'm not upset by that because I like the guy, honestly. But
Yeah.
it just,
well, you couldn't
crazy.
see him. But
well, show.
Yeah, he's got like some big ass gated freaking compound that he lives on, dude. And yeah, dude, it's right here. It's right by where you live. Well,
wow, did not know that, but okay.
Go ahead, do some Googling, man. You'll see it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, I think we're gonna be wrapping this one up.
No, hey, go ahead and drop the DLC pack 2 and see what the guys' reaction is.
Oh, okay. So according to the leak that just came out the last day or two, I know this is being recorded ahead of its release, so take it with a grain of salt. We'll hopefully know more. The new DLC pack 2 is going to be Noob Saibot, Kano, and Serena for the fighters. With the guest fighters.
Serena's the black hair with the white streak and stuff. She was in Sub-Zero Mythologies is where she made her debut.
Yeah.
Noob Saibot too. Holy shit.
Yeah.
The guest fighters will be Harley Quinn, Deathstroke, and the Doomslayer.
Okay.
Fucking.
What?
The
Wait,
main
wait.
character from Doom,
Yeah,
Deathstroke, and Harley.
So I met, if I'm hearing this correctly, you're saying Serena's the chick that played like the Sindel chick in Mythologies or something?
Yes.
Yeah, she was she's one of Quan Chi's like
Lackeys.
right hand. Yeah.
So
pretty much.
I met her at Combat Con, and she was a smoke show, dude. I mean, even still 5 years ago, dude.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
I'll leave you guys with this. Going to Combat Con was one of the absolute best times, best weekends of my adult life. Partying, hanging with the actual characters. And I know I've said this shit to you guys before, and you know it, but for the sake of this podcast, that was one of